for tuning in to another episode of Authors to Know and Their Books to Read. I'm your host, Martinique Brown, and I'm so excited today because I have Carmen Byars on the show. Guess what, y'all? She wrote a book called What's the Skinny? The Basics of Faith. Faith Series 1. That means more books are to come in this series. But if this is your very first time ever watching the show, this is what I always say, so you should get used to it. I say, make sure you go ahead and share this video now. Also, all of our information is in the description box. Our YouTube channels, as well as our Facebook channels and our Instagrams. Carmen's information is in the description box as well, where you can purchase her book. This is going to be a really great show. So like I said, make sure that you go ahead and share this video now. Share it to your page, share it to other people's pages as well. So we're just going to get to know Carmen a little bit better and have a better understanding of why she wrote this book and how this book can really just help you in this new year. I know a lot of us are just implementing a lot of goals in our life right now, either it be personal, spiritual, physical. You know, I know 2019 is all about losing weight and feeling great. You know, so you got to have that faith. You got to have faith in yourself to get out the bed and say, you know what, I can do this. And so this is why this is a really good book to help you move forward in either increasing your faith or just helping you to stay motivated as you continue to achieve those goals. So Carmen, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome. So Carmen, if you can just tell us a little bit more about yourself, then that would be great.
Awesome. Well, my name is Carmen Byars, and I am originally from Gainesville, Florida. Grew up there after my dad passed. He was in the service, so I was born in Germany. He passed away. We moved to Detroit, so my mom could raise the five of us. I was the last of the five, the fabulous five, as she calls us. And so we moved from Germany. We were stationed in California. So we moved from there and moved to Detroit, stayed there about 8 years. My mom got remarried and my stepdad thought that it would be better for us to move to Florida. So he had family there. We ended up moving to Gainesville. I stayed in Gainesville for 17 years, went to elementary, middle, high, community college, and the University of Florida. I graduated in 1990 as a registered nurse. And then shortly after, I got married, y'all. And I have been married for 26 years. That's an awesome amount of time. Woo-hoo!
That is.
So after we've been married 26 years, we have 3 children and 3 grands. Our middle child is about to give us our 4th grand on February 12th. 22nd, 15th, somewhere in there.
One of those days, huh?
Right, one of those days. So we're really excited about that. But I'm also now a nurse practitioner. I went to school here in Kentucky to Spalding University, got my MSN, and I currently work at the VA. But the thing that I like to do the most is being the first lady of Fountain of Faith Christian Center.
Give it up for Fountain of Faith.
Yeah.
In Kentucky.
Where are my fountainets?
I know, right?
But I love being the first lady. I love being a minister, and that is how I spend my days.
That's
a
good.
lot of things going on.
That's good. So if you can just really just help us to have a better understanding of why you decided to write a book like this.
Yes, I decided to write this book because when I first became a Christian, my husband was so much more advanced spiritually than I was. And he was in a ministry school based on faith in Oklahoma at Rhema Bible Training Center. But I didn't actually go to the school. I worked so that he could go to school. And so he would come home and he would share things with me all the time. And as I began to grow in the things of faith, because I realized just how important it was, because the Bible tells us that without faith, it's impossible to please God, Hebrews 11:6. So I thought, well, I had better get it in gear. If I want to please God, I got to sharpen my faith. So I began to think about the simple things of faith. And so I thought about, there are other people out there who need faith to be given to them on a simple platter, just so that it's not confusing. Because a lot of believers and unbelievers, they think that faith is confusing, and really it's not. So I wanted to write a basic book so that anybody who can read on a fifth grade level, on up until the 90s or whichever, that they could understand the basics of faith and how they can achieve walking by faith, and how that they can be victorious in every area of their life. So when I thought about the title, I said, I wanted to be something basic so that people could understand this is a basic book about faith. So I thought about that phrase, what's the skinny? And that means, what's up, what's going on, what's the scoop, what's the short version. So I wanted to give the short version of what faith was all about. So when I first wrote the title, somebody messaged me and they said, "Is this a book on weight loss?"
I would have been like, "Yep,
yeah,
buy it."
right. I should have known you back then.
It's okay. You know me now.
You have all the right answers. Yeah, so I was like, well, no, but if you apply your faith, you can use it to lose some weight. So that is the reason why I wrote this, because I want people. This is for moms. This is for stay-at-home moms. This is for CEOs of companies. This is for, if you work in a factory. It doesn't matter if you're a minister, if you're not a minister, if you go to church, you don't go to church, it doesn't matter. This book is for everybody who wants to learn how to walk by faith and walk by faith effectively.
And I think one of the cool things that you were telling me about was your pre and post test.
Yes.
I think that's cute.
Yes. I thought, when I write this book, because I know for myself, a lot of times, I love going to school. I love reading. And so I thought about what would be like an opening punch to this book? How could people connect and kind of see where they stand? So we all didn't like tests when we were in school, but even those with test anxiety, don't be afraid. This is just a test to see where you stand with your faith. So I thought about that, putting that in the beginning of the book, where you can test your faith knowledge. So you can find out just exactly where you are in faith. And, just for you to be able to see where you stand before you start to read the book. So a couple of the questions, one question was, faith is always future tense, false or true? Faith and belief are the same, false or true? So you go through and you answer all those questions. And I strongly urge you to not go to the back of the book and get the answers.
Yeah.
You take the test on the honor system, take the test and find out where you stand. Then you read the book. Then you test yourself afterwards. You do the post test. And that way you can see what you learned. And then you can also see where you stand with your faith. Because, you don't get a particular crown or ring for how big your faith is. Everybody has the same measure of faith. But where you get your success is how you build on your faith. That's so good. It doesn't matter if you didn't do good on the pre-test, it's okay, because I'm going to teach you what to answer at the end. So that was a good thing. But thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. And I think it's also good that you're teaching them how to implement it, in their life as well. Can you just walk us through your book and just let us know a little bit about a couple of the chapters that you had?
Absolutely. I started out, of course, as we've already said, with the pre-test, so you can test your knowledge. And then, of course, the first chapter is what faith is and what faith is not. A lot of times we can find out what something is by finding out what it is not. And then I go into, because all of the chapters they start with these: faith defined, faith dealt, faith deeds, faith developed, faith deployed. So we're putting all of those things into perspective. So then, we talk about, how is my faith dealt? Where do I get faith from? A lot of people don't know where their faith comes from. So we deal with that. And then, will faith work for me? As far as faith deeds, is it going to work for me? I see it work for other people, but will it work for me? And then faith deployed. What should I use my faith for? And I say jokingly in the book, but I really mean it, that you can't use your faith to believe God for somebody else's spouse. That's not of God. So what can I use my faith for? You can use your faith, like we said at the beginning, to learn how to lose weight or to help you lose weight. You can use your faith on your emotions. And I shared that in the book, a personal experience for myself, because my emotions were way out of control. And I used my faith for my emotions. Lots of times when you talk to most Christians, they think about using their faith for stuff. I want a car, I want a man, I want a house, that kind of thing. But your faith can be used in so many other areas. How to get along with your coworkers, how to get along with your kids, how to be the best parent, the best sister, the best coworker, those kind of things. And then I talk about how your faith is developed. So how do I grow in my faith? And then I end it with the mechanics of faith. So I give you the details on how to work it out. And throughout the book, I give you skinny tips. So there are little tips along the way with the skinny man. And, he tells you what is the highlight of that particular page or maybe that particular chapter. And those, because I'm a note-taking kind of girl. So I love to take notes. So I also give you areas in the back where if maybe a skinny tip really spoke to you and that was something you really want to remember, I got you. There's a space for you in the back of each chapter where you can take good notes. And then at the very end, I give you like a little bonus for like it's skinny tips for parents, and it helps you to save time and to help build family time. And so that was one thing that I really thought would be something nice to add to the book. So it's a nice bonus. So it's a beginning of the year. If you want to know how to manage your time and how to lose that weight and, make sure you got the best job, I'm telling you, this book and those tips will help you.
That's good. That's good. And I know that we have a couple of people that actually just joined the show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure that you go ahead and share this video right now. Make sure that you also make this episode a lot more interactive by posting comments as well as asking Carmen questions, because she has written this book and she's not only on the show just to say, here, buy my book, but she also wants you to get to know her a little bit more. And if you have a specific question on faith, this is your woman right here. This is waiting for. But like I said, make sure that you post this episode to other people's pages as well that you feel, could really just have a boost in their faith right now. Because this would just be like a little subtle message, like, here you go, buy this book. But Carmen, if you can just go a little bit deeper with chapter 1 in what faith is, how would you define faith?
I would define faith simply as acting on what you believe. Faith is simply acting on what you believe. Faith has a lot to do with corresponding action. So you could have faith, but if you don't apply it, then it's not going to work for you. So a lot of people will use this phrase, let God handle it. Well, God has given us the ability to handle it. Or it's almost like, because even if God is not even a part of your life, it's okay. Because a lot of times we can give the responsibility of our lives to someone else. Well, I'm this way because this person did this to me. Or I'm this way because this happened in my life. Well, at some point in time, you will have to take the responsibility and decide, am I going to just continue to stay the way that I am? Or am I going to make some changes to get better? And so that's where faith says, okay, you take the reins. You begin to apply these principles to your life. So you have to act on what you believe. A lot of times what people have acted on have gotten them in a lot of trouble. They believed it. They believed every bit of it, but it's gotten them into a lot of trouble. And so I say in my book, as a born again believer, if I have to act on what I believe, then what I believe should be based on the word of God. So it should be based on the Bible. So everything that Jesus did, that's my example. So I need to act on that. So when I do that, I'm applying my faith. Like if I'm having a challenging time at work, and we sometimes have coworkers that just grate our nerves. But if that is the case, hey, I can say, okay, God, I need to find out what my faith says about this. So what do? I go in the Bible because faith is acting on what I believe. And so I find out in the Bible that a soft answer turns away wrath. Okay, so then what's my corresponding action? The next time that coworker comes to me and they're trying to front me off or whatever, I'm not going to react to them. I'm going to come with a soft answer. And that soft answer turns away wrath, because really, even in the natural, you can't argue by yourself. You have to have somebody else that's going to argue with you.
Right.
So, so you have to be able to understand that once you begin to apply what you believe, and I believe that a soft answer will turn away wrath. If I believe that, then I'm going to act on that. So faith is simply acting on what you believe. And what you believe, for me, what I believe is based on the word of God.
That's good. That's good. And I know that we actually have a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners that tune into the show. And I think one of the things that has really helped me is also my faith in Jesus Christ, and knowing that he is going to take care of me. But I can't just sit on my hands and be like, God, I know you're going to make this business work for me, and so it's like, I'm doing as much as I can to pursue my goals as a new business owner. But the things that I cannot control, like, for example, with emails, I can send the emails out and I can do a follow-up, but I can't, like, time-wise, follow up with the same person 20 times, or 10 times. I have to ask God. I said, God, just make sure that they see the email, because it really just, that faith that I put into God really just helps me to eliminate any anxiety that I could possibly have from worrying about, possible clients, and so, like, you really do that faith. What are you putting your faith in? And so it's going to come out in your lifestyle. And so I just think that is such a blessing that you have a book like that is really just to help people with their faith, because I believe that it's going to help a lot of people from worrying about unnecessary things that they cannot control.
That is an excellent point. You are so right. Thank you for pointing that out, because you're right. If you don't have control, you don't have control over other people, but you do have control over what you can do. So Correct. Just like you said, I can't just sit on my hands. If I'm saying, Lord, I'm applying my faith and I'm believing God for a job, and then you sit at home and you wait for the phone to ring, but you've not gone and put out one application. You have not checked with anyone online. You're just sitting there. Okay, God, I'm waiting on you. But no, there are things that we have to do. If we want our business to be successful, if we're an entrepreneur, it takes work. My husband always says it takes work to work the word. And that is so true. So it takes work. If you're going to be successful, in anything, God even told Joshua in Joshua 1:8, this book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but you shall meditate therein day and night, that you may observe to do according to that is written therein. Then you'll make your way prosperous. Then you'll have good success. So what was God telling Joshua? Joshua, you got to do something. You got to meditate day and night. Then you have to observe and do according to what you've said day and night. And so when we put that work into it, I guess, like I say, you got to add feet to your faith. So you add feet to your faith. If you never would have started to contact other, like if you hadn't contacted me, I never would have known about your broadcast. So you put feet to your faith, because this is something that's near and dear to your heart. So what you've done, you're like, okay, God, I've got to work this thing. I've got to do this for myself. Then when your faith comes in, you're saying, God, I can't do this on my own. I'm trusting you to help me and to give me wisdom. So when we're living in this world, but not of the world as Christians. So for those entrepreneurs or CEOs that, that are Christians, and even those that may not be, it's okay too. But for those who are, when you are in this world, there's a lot of corrupt things that are going on. But I'm telling you, your faith says that you have to have integrity. Your faith is not going to operate if you're being dishonest. That's good. So regardless of what happens, you have to maintain your integrity. You have to maintain your honesty, because God can't help you if you have a dishonest heart. Whatever a man sows is what he will reap. I mean, from the beginning of time, seed time and harvest has always been the principle. So whatever seed you plant, just give it a little bit of time and it's going to come up. So the more you apply, you put your feet to it. You begin to put your hand to the plow, as my mother used to always say, because God can't bless your hands if you're not putting your hands to something. So we can't just wait. I love to say that God's love is unconditional, but his word is conditional. So, if we say, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. What's the condition? We got to seek him first. Right. And then the things will be added. So yes, that is excellent. We have to make sure that we're doing something. Application is vital.
That's good. So help our viewers understand. There are so many books about faith out here. Why is yours the best one to purchase?
Well, because I wrote it. No.
I know that's right. There you have it. Next question.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? I believe in what I wrote too. And sometimes when I go back and I review it, I'm like, you know what? This is a pretty good book. But if I go back,
who is this author?
I love it. But I truly believe, like I've said, there were so many books out about faith. And when I first thought about writing this book, I thought to myself, what hasn't already been said about faith? And then I had to realize I'm in a different generation than the ones that I learned from faith about. I am a female. I'm African American. I've grown up in the North and in the South. I've been a little everywhere. I'm a professional. So I think that I have a lot of areas that I can speak from as it applies to this book, because I felt like, hey, I could talk to just about anybody about their faith, because I've been in so many different situations in my life. I've been a supervisor on the floor working night shift. And when I was living, in Gainesville, having to go through college and, get my master's degree. I've been a nurse's aide. I've done everything from the beginning to the end. I've been in ministry, just different things like that. I'm not trying to brag on myself. I'm just saying there's so many areas that I can speak from. So I thought that I had the information that's needed for the person who does just about everything, for the person who felt like, you know what, I'm just so busy. I can't, devote the time to reading this book. So I made it so that it's so simple, where you could maybe read a half a chapter in about 10 minutes. Then you can set it down and you can always come back to a place where you can begin again. And so I highlighted a lot of my chapters so that you can get to a stopping point and be able to come back. So I felt like I was able to share from an aspect, from a totally different generation, from a totally different view on faith. And even though there's a lot out there about faith, I thought, I think we just need to go back to the basics and be able to, because I wanted to help those that are out there struggling with their faith come to realize it's really not as hard as you think.
That's good. That's good. And we do need those reminders, so many times, sometimes we hear that, oh, you got to do this, you got to do this and that, and sometimes you just
Yes.
really have to get back to the basics in order
Yeah,
to really just implement it and begin to grow in your faith
I
as
agree.
well, with that. So how much does your book cost?
This book today, if you
Hmm.
are on this broadcast,
Come on, tell them.
is not, drum roll. It is $9. $9 for What's the Skinny?
It's good. Uh-huh.
$9 today. But if you go on Amazon, it is originally listed for $14.99. But if you're watching today and you follow the link to my PayPal account, then I will make sure I get this to you. Shipping and handling is free.
That's
So
good.
$9
Woo!
out the door. You can't beat it.
Yeah, and make sure you guys, if you're watching on Authors to Know, make sure that you go ahead and put that in the notes section, and then that will let Carmen know to do the free shipping and handling. Make sure you
Yeah.
also put that $9 amount um, on there. Don't be trying to be slick, y'all, and put 675. Um, no, but I'm just playing with y'all. But yeah, it's $9 free shipping and handling. Make sure that you put in the notes section, authors to know, or you can just simply write A, the number 2, and K. And all of that information is in the description box. Her PayPal link as well as the Amazon link is in the description box of where you can purchase the book. So, and I appreciate you for doing a discounted price for
Yeah.
our viewers. So y'all don't be sleeping on this stuff. People don't mind getting Christmas gifts in January. So if you
Yes.
would like to purchase this book for somebody that you believe can really just get a boost, needs a boost in their faith, this would be
That's
a
right.
great blessing for them. So, can you tell me and our viewers more about the bi-weekly Facebook Live broadcast called Carmen's Corner and what viewers should expect when they tune in?
Yes. Well, Carmen's Corner is really almost a spinoff from my book, What's the Skinny? The Basics of Faith. Carmen's Corner airs every other Monday, Facebook
Mhm.
Live, 6:15 to 6:30. And I meet you every other morning. Actually, we meet this Monday. So
Okay.
you are just you're in the right place at the right time. You're getting discounted on books. You're finding out how to get to Carmen's Corner, and it is on Monday morning, this Monday morning. And what I do on Carmen's Corner is to help you apply your faith to everyday practical circumstances of life. Because
Mhm.
I am that kind of girl. I'm the kind of girl that's like, you know what, just lay it out plain. Just write it down, make it plain for me so that I don't have to. I mean, I know that I need to think about some things, but there are sometimes where I'm just like, don't talk over my head, you know?
Mhm.
And so I don't talk over your head in Carmen's Corner. I mean, we deal with issues about everything. And so once you join, you'll be able to see my previous broadcast. And the very first broadcast of the new year was actually New Year's Eve. And I talked about how to get organized for
That's
the new
good.
year,
Mhm.
how not to be a procrastinator. We talk, yes, we talk a lot about how to just be able to understand where you can apply your faith to everyday circumstances in life, because they are going to confront us every day. We're going to have some issues that we'll be confronted with. So Carmen's Corner is a place that's just a real laid back. I always tell you, grab your coffee, grab your tea for the next 10 to 15 minutes, and I help you jumpstart your Monday and give you tips on how to apply faith in practical circumstances of life.
And can you tell us again what time does it start?
6:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, because I
Okay.
live in Kentucky. So
Okay.
6:15 a.m. on Monday morning. So I try not to be too loud, but I am a talker. So if you need a wake up call, you need to
Uh-huh.
be on Carmen's Corner.
That's good. And you
I'm
know
gonna get
what, you all, I actually have her Facebook. pages in the description box. And one of the cool things that I really like about Facebook is that you can like and follow someone's professional page. And with that, you will receive their notifications of when they do post, when they're on live and things like that. So one thing that I think is the best practice, if you're interested in it, don't say, oh, I'll come back to it later. Just do it now. Go ahead and click on that link that says Carmen's Corner and go ahead and like and follow her page now so you can get that reminder of when she's going to be live again at 6:15 Eastern Standard Time in the AM, y'all. And I think one of the cool things about it is that you're not doing this hour-long, discussion, because people don't have all that time in the morning. We're trying to get ready and everything. So she just does a quick, simple 10-15 broadcast that, like she said, just help you get your morning started. If you need to catch up on some episode, make sure you just keep scrolling. You can see
there you go
past episodes as well. Carmen, I truly do appreciate you being on the show today. If somebody is just struggling with their faith, what's the last thing you would like them to know?
If you're struggling with your faith, I believe the first and foremost thing that you should do is reconnect with the Lord. If you've not, maybe you're outside of God, you've been close to God before, but now, it's like, I know I haven't been living right or doing the things that I need to do. I think that's the very first step. And just by simply saying, Lord, you know what? I'm just going to rededicate my life to you. I'm just going to start with a clean slate. It's a new year. Start out new with your relationship with God. And then once you do that, because we can't, if you feel condemned about something that you've done, you cannot approach God boldly. Mm-hmm. So you got to get all the condemnation out. And it starts by the renewing of your relationship with him and the renewing of your mind. So when you begin to do those things, then you go get my book. And then you find out how to walk by faith. And so that, I would say, if you're struggling with your faith, just renew the relationship with God. Even if you don't get my book, please do that. Renew your relationship with the Lord and renew your mind. There's so many things that are holding you back. You could be so much further along than what you are, but because of misjudgments or past hurts or past circumstances that have happened, you feel like you're stuck, but you don't have to be stuck. And whatever you do, don't compare yourself to anyone else. Compare yourself to you. Compare yourself to where you were last year compared to this year, and then see where you are, because everybody's life is different and everybody is on a different level with their faith. So that's the last thing you want to do, is look at someone who's been walking by faith for 30 years and compare yourself to them. You'll never get anywhere. You'll just quit. So,
that's good.
So just make sure, starting with renewing your relationship with God and renewing your mind and having a different thought process is key.
That's really good. Thank you so much, Carmen, for that. And I think one of the things that I really enjoy about books that you purchase, is that you constantly have those reminders. You can put notes in your book, as well as, I'm the type of person that puts Post-it notes. And life beats us up so much that we need those reminders. You can't just depend on, oh, well, let me just get this big old dose of Jesus in the beginning of 2019 and then not build anything with him, because like I said, life beats us up so much. We need those constant reminders of who we are in Jesus Christ. We need those constant reminders of the power he has given us to implement what he wants in our life. And so that's why it's so beneficial to have books on your bookcase that is really going to continuously just remind you who you are and what you can do in your life, and remind you of that power you have. And the thing that you need with Christianity, if you're not a Christian yet, is faith. That's where it all starts. So have this book with you. Have your Bible with you.
Yeah.
I feel like this is about to be a Bible study, but it's not. Make sure you tune in to Carmen's Corner at 6:15 so you can continuously get fed positivity and something that is foundational that is going to help you to remember who you are in Jesus Christ. But he's our creator, y'all.
He is. Yes,
but
yes, and that's where the foundation begins. That's good.
Exactly.
Yes.
So guys, again, I thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. Make sure that you visit our Facebook pages. Make sure that you also subscribe to my YouTube channel, Martinique the Storyteller. Also, make sure that you follow me on Instagram, Martinique the Storyteller. I hope you guys have a great remainder of the day, and I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.